Okay, maybe I have to tone it down a little bit. It's kind of amazing. And it looks like I have blush on. This is kind of amazing. How does this not reflect on my glasses? A little bit of an echo. So weird. I'm so technically savvy, but I can't seem to figure out how to do a setup like this. And I've kind of been in marketing for a few years now. Anyway, so it's weird that I'm recording this like 4 or 5 in the morning, but welcome to the Human Experiment. My name is Quincy. This is episode 1. It's going to be uncandid and raw. Uncandid? I guess candid. Candid and raw. But of course, if you're still here, you're still listening. I'm actually pretty good at talking about myself. So, thank you for joining me. If you like what you're listening to, like and subscribe. I guess I should talk about what the Human Experiment is. Um, uh, so this is kind of the podcast, and it came about because I started doing, I'm actually creating a vitamin shot. And of course, if my friends are listening to this, which they're not, because I decided that I wanted this to be kind of an unfiltered, unbiased, and not judgmental podcast. Even though, of course, if strangers are listening to this, of course, they're already judging me. But I actually feel a little bit more shame when people are like my friends and watching this as opposed to strangers. I can kind of be silly in front of strangers. Actually, sure enough, I'm actually gonna be auditioning for The Voice. Oh, and I may or may not have a good voice. I don't care. Actually, this is so cool because my glasses are not reflecting on this ring mirror, but I do look kind of fat. But it is the morning, so maybe I'm just bloated. Um, Anyway, so the Human Experiment podcast is going to be, I guess, a telling of my life because it's so interesting for some people. But more so, I think, because I wanted to kind of share the journey. Unfortunately, I live and wear so many different hats and live so many different lives, owning, 11, 12 plus businesses. And unfortunately, my accountant is very much not happy the fact that I opened so many businesses. But I think in this day and age, as a serial entrepreneur, um, people are kind of doing their side hustle, and they're also kind of being a part of life. So, and especially with the pandemic, there's a lot of people that actually come to me, for advice on business and starting their own business. And of course, my life is constantly evolving. I currently own a marketing company, and I also um, own a bunch of different companies, but predominantly I do marketing. And that's why I'm like, oh, this should be easy to do, right? But it's actually not. Talking to myself is easy because I'm a very talkative person. But the human express, and I get off topic. So this, of course, is going to be a very raw podcast. You could probably listen to it in your background, or in your car, hearing me rant and talk about different things. I, of course, have been stunted and trying to get out there publicly, as kind of a public figure, but I've always been afraid to be judged by friends and family. And sure enough, even though, people know me to be a certain way, in business specifically, I want to kind of also connect with people and audiences that know me for who I really am. And it is kind of hard because, even though this is kind of like a telling of my life behind my life, I know that if any of my colleagues, friends, clients, anyone were to see this, they're probably like, oh, yeah, this is why, he is the way that he is. But aside from all of that, I did want to share my journey as the human experiment, because I'm going through this. And of course, through my experience and through my processes of doing different things, I want, people who are listening to this to learn, about business, about life, about maybe not life. I think I'm the worst person to learn about life, but just to learn a little bit more about, I guess, what an entrepreneur and a serial entrepreneur goes through. I'll try to see if I can have guests on here. I'm trying to keep this very low commitment, so there's not going to be a lot of hard cuts or edits. No high production. I think I'm just going to upload it to Spotify and uh, just put it out there and then see who picks it up. I'll probably do some like marketing because I really like the name, the Human Experiment podcast. So um, we'll kind of see. I mean, obviously, I have been kind of the test subject of my life for 20, 30 years, owning a marketing company for 17 plus years, 18 I think now. But then with the pandemic, I feel like I minus 2 years to everything that I have experience in. I did start a restaurant back in April 2021. I started a business in Florida back in April 2020. And then, of course, I've been opening up businesses like in Canada. So if you stumbled upon this, I'd love to get your feedback on how to improve on this, maybe not to ramble as much, but just know that you're getting the raw, authentic self. I am definitely not posting this on any of my social media. I am going to create, obviously, because I'm a marketing expert, I am going to be creating social channels for the Human Experiment. Maybe do a program. Who knows? Like, there's a lot of possibilities. A lot of people say it's not about the money, but sometimes when you do the work, you should get paid the money, right? Um, and so this is kind of what this podcast is going to be. I try to see if I can make it more interactive and lively, as opposed to just listening to me talk, talk, talk. And I'm doing this in the morning because I also have a roommate, which I don't want to, one, wake up, two, hear him, hear me kind of like ramble on and on about the Human Experiment. But what I can promise to you listeners is, I'm going to be recommending some things. I'll be talking about projects. I'll be telling stories, and everyone says that they love my stories. So I'm going to be telling stories. This is the first episode. I think I'm going to try to take it week by week to begin with. Like I said, I don't want this to be too high committal. I don't want to commit too much time and energy to this. So I apologize if you're listening to this. You're just going to get kind of what the topic of the day is. I'm going to kind of engage with my fans and different people. I really like the name, The Human Experiment. I think that's why I was so keen to do this. So I just set up my laptop, put up my blue mic, record myself on my phone, turn on my ring light, which, by the way, I'm still impressed by that. My glasses aren't reflecting off this ring light. I may have, a dual partner. I may have, like anything's possible here on the Human Experiment. But really, Human Experiment podcast is twofold. One is experimenting and kind of going through my life, in business. I have high stress, high anxiety because of, my employees, the different things that I come into. I'm afraid of getting bashed, by readers and listeners, but I know that's kind of a necessary evil when you're doing something like this. So this is kind of me. The Human Experiment also will deal with a lot of the supplements I've been taking. So I am a huge, huge advocate for brain supplements. And, I'm actually going through the manufacture process of creating my own supplements, but I did find something really cool where I can actually sell supplements on this platform. I am using Shopify just to keep things easy. I guess I could do a website in WooCommerce, but I've actually decided to do this in Shopify to keep things easy. I'm going to get the products. I'm trying to see if I can prevent the cost of double shipping it to, I'm here in Hawaii, and then for shipping it over. But in recent times, I've wanted to actually start a vitamin shop because I've been going through a lot of health things, and I've been reading articles and like, oh, wow, so interesting about, detoxing your liver, things that I find out. And, I will share my resources so I don't get in trouble because obviously I'm not a doctor, although interesting fact is that I have been a surgical tech for 19 plus years in the military. So, that's always a fun tidbit that people like to hear. That'll probably come up in future episodes. But this is episode 1 of the human experiment raw. I mean, I'll probably do some cuts, and post them on TikTok. I'm actually choking on something. So I listen to a lot of Tim Ferriss's podcast, and I actually had listened to his endorsement on Athletic Greens. So I drank Athletic Greens, and now I'm actually coughing because of the granulars that have dissolved in that water. Probably TMI. But Athletic Greens is pretty good. If I have a following as big as Tim, then I will probably be super awesome. So this is kind of me starting off with the human experiment. I don't know how long this has been recording. I don't have a timer anywhere. But as you can already assume, I'm very, I love talking. You can assume that I love talking, love hearing my voice, even though I don't technically hear my voice except in my head. And that makes me sound crazy now. Anyway, the human experiment is kind of going through my life, both in business, maybe some personal things, and then of course, trialing, a lot of different supplements, trying it out. I don't exercise. I don't like to exercise. I do know that walking 30 minutes a day is really good for your health. So I'm trying to do that 3 times a day. So I feel like me putting this out there will be really good to connect with people who are probably going through the same things as me. I can also connect with people who are not my friends, and I'll be open to not receiving judgment from them, because I think that is the hardest thing about kind of putting yourself out there, is being judged by your peers and your family and people telling you that you can't do it. So this is going to be a completely secret podcast, the human experiment, that I'm going to share with people. And of course, if it goes viral, then I guess I have no choice but to accept it. But in this beginning stages, as I'm learning how to engage and learn how to edit and all these great things, which of course, like I said, I'm a marketer. I know how to edit, but this is more so along the lines of just kind of putting things out there, see who shows up week to week, and then we just go from there. So I don't have a logo. I don't have an intro. I don't have an outro. I do want a call signal, which may come over time. I do have a podcast with a media company, The Geek View. I do help, marketing for iHeartRadio and for, a local radio station here in Hawaii. I do work with, a team in Florida and New York. So it is kind of interesting. I mean, I think that people can gain a lot of benefit from me, putting my information, my stories out there. And that's what the human podcast is all about. So, like I said, I'm not very organized and not trying to be organized. I'm going to probably put these in spreadsheets to kind of just keep things simple for a lot of the listeners, but nothing specific just yet. I am starting 2 companies, which is one is an incubator and an accelerator to help businesses. And my second venture is going to be the vitamin shop. So I'm meeting with a wholesaler on Wednesday. I'm also going to be, my restaurant actually has a sauce that my business partner came up with, and we want to bottle that. So I'm going to talk about that process as well. So obviously, if I am not taking notes and, I forget, what I'm talking about, is because I'm just so busy, and it probably just fell through the cracks. So just remind me if you're listening to this, like, hey, whatever happened to, the vitamin shop? Like, oh yeah, it probably took a little bit of a back burner because this Thursday, it's going to be Veterans Day, I am going to Vegas. So I will bring my mic with me. It's funny now that I think about what I'm talking about, I feel like I can talk for hours. So I'm not going to do that to you. But I do want to also, provide free advice, because it is part of the accelerator that I'm a part of. I'm going to be doing more formal presentations on another channel. I have weekly podcasts on the Geek View that talks about everything from Star Wars, Disney Plus. You can see that at thegeekview.com. I own a custom scrub company, which is called aperfectscrub.com. You know, I own a digital marketing company, cleverwolfdigital.com. So if you had happened to stumble upon this, want to be a listener, want to be my friend, you know, let's engage, let's connect. And, you know, like I said, this is the raw version of me, unfiltered, because I know, or I hope so, that none of my friends and family are going to see this. If they do, you know, they can totally just listen to this in their off time, I guess, find out and catch up with what's going on. But the pressures of, I guess, being judged so harshly by, like, even my employees, my friends, my business partners, everybody, like, I have a hard time really putting myself out there in a raw form, because I wear so many hats and have so many businesses, and people see me in so many different ways. Like, even, you know, people that I'm dating, like, it's really tough. So just know that for a good majority, you're going to get business advice. And then, of course, how things are changing for me as a person as I take these various supplements. And of course, you're going to figure out, like, all the nuances, the struggles, and the things I go through, you know, with, you know, potentially procrastination. Because although I feel like I'm a heavy procrastinator, I actually have so much on my plate. I think I just, you know, kind of wean through and have to triage specifically what I'm doing. So, you know, hopefully, you know, there's not too many contradictions, but, you know, and of course, if people are taking things out of context, that's, I guess, perfectly fine, because that's what the internet does, and that's what the internet's going to do. So I can't control that. But just know that the human experiment will be a retelling of my life going through the trials and, I guess, tribulations that will be taking place. So I'm gonna upload this on YouTube. The human experiment probably already exists. Thehumanexperiment.com. Hopefully that's available. I will totally buy that domain. And then, of course, I will also, ooh, you know, it'd be cool. So I did want to create this Instagram account called QSoulEXP, which is my experiences. Now I can just call it the human EXP. That might be cool. You know, I'm a gamer. But hopefully you enjoyed episode 1. I will try to see if I can format it, but, you know, I don't owe any of you anything. So um, so I'm going to, sorry, that was really rude. I'm gonna put that all those things. And if you choose to follow me or like me or hate me, you know, that's just kind of your prerogative. Um, and I will kind of put all of this kind of out into the public and see how people respond. I'm going to market it a little bit, see how people respond. So this is a Quincy and of course, you know, once this becomes popular and viral and everyone starts coming around, then maybe I'll tell my friends and family. But until next time, I'll see you in episode 2. Check back on weekly or maybe not weekly episodes. Maybe this is the first and only episode, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you need to connect with me, I am on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Quincy Solano. You can just look me up. That's my name, my real name. So you're not getting catfished. And we'll catch you next time. See ya.